Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Silver. Our guest today is Patrick Yip, the Director of Business Development at APMEX. Patrick, welcome.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
So Patrick, we've had a lot of other bullion dealers on our channel to talk about the market and the demand, and we've never had APMEX on, so we're really happy to have you here. You guys are one of the biggest bullion, you are the biggest, right, in the United States for bullion sales?
Yeah, as far as I know, if not the biggest, near the top. We've been in business for over 20 years. We've done over 15 billion in lifetime sales, and we participate in the retail side. So this is all retail sales. But yeah, we're definitely one of the biggest. 2022 has been an extremely busy year for us. I think extremely busy for everyone in the precious metals. We're on track to sell over 2 billion in retail precious metals this year. In fact, back in March, we had our best month in our 20 plus year company history, and we did over 260 million in precious metal sales. I think with the recent sell-off, we've definitely seen demand pick up. If you look at the past couple of weeks, we've seen a couple of days with north of 10 million in sales. I guess the downside about some of this demand is we are seeing premiums spike up too as well recently.
Let me ask you, what percentage of your sales are silver versus gold? I mean, is it a lot of the other bullion dealers, they tell me it's about 70% silver in terms of revenue, 30% gold. Is that roughly what APMEX does also?
Yeah, it's actually an interesting question. So if you look, let's go back to like 2019. So like back then, this is before any of this crazy COVID demand. We are running about 73% gold, 23% silver. Obviously, the rest is platinum, palladium, and so on. So
way more gold.
We were heavy gold. So the interesting thing is, and APMEX has always been a gold heavy business. Going on to 2020, silver obviously dropped to $12. I think you guys probably remember that. Our mix shifted. So we were 23% silver. We jumped up to 27% silver. So an increase of 4% to 2020. And then you move a little bit forward to the 2021 Silversqueeze, and 35% of our sales was silver at that point. Wow. So much heavier silver. I think a lot of people realize that silver is undervalued. And then you look a little bit into this year too. So this year we're running at about 30% silver. So a little drop from the 2021 Silversqueeze, but I think a lot of people look at it, they're saying gold and silver are heavily correlated. Gold is down less than silver relative to its all-time highs, and silver may be undervalued. So I think a lot of people are taking advantage of silver at this point.
So the gold to silver ratio, I haven't looked at it in the past week or so, but it was like around over 90. 90 to 1 gold to silver ratio recently. Is that I don't know if you watch that, and do you get the sense when that number gets really high that the silver sales start picking up?
I think some people watch it. A lot of times sales picks up one is you have silver going down, like it certainly went down to the 18s. You have a lot of the people who have been, I guess some of these old time buyers are looking at it as a value point. And then a lot of other times too, we see buyers when the market moves. So for example, the Fed just increased interest rates by 75 basis points today. You're seeing metals jump up, and a lot of times people jump in on the move too. So it's volatility that creates the movement. So obviously it goes down. People say, hey, it's a good buying point. It goes up. People think they're going to miss the boat, so they jump in.
Patrick, people are wondering why product premiums are so high. Do you know whether it'll go down, stay the same? What's your opinion?
Yeah, so let me start by giving you a ground level overview of the Silver Eagle, which is the product with the highest premium overall out of all our bullion products. So to start, APMEX is one of a handful of authorized purchasers. This means we buy directly from the US Mint. There's obviously several strict requirements to become an authorized purchaser, one of them meaning that you have to be a market maker and create a two-way market. But let's start with the normal market. So normally, the US Mint gives APMEX an allocation of Silver Eagles. We then buy some or all these coins from the US Mint, and then we have no need to source the coins from anywhere else. We're buying 100% of our needs from the US Mint. Years ago, we were paying $2 over spot for coins. When demand spiked in 2020 and 2021, the US Mint increased their cost to $2.35 over spot to us. And then most recently, they increased prices again to $2.95 over spot. So silver eagles are typically sold for a small premium over our cost. So back then, let's say when silver was $2 over spot for us, we were selling them for about $4 or $5 over spot. So moving forward to a little bit of a tighter market, the U.S. Mint still gives allocation of silver eagles to us. We buy everything we can from the U.S. Mint, but the downside is we need more coins. So the U.S. Mint can't supply us with more coins at OEM cost. So we have to go through other authorized purchasers, and then we have to pay up. Obviously, these companies are in the market to make money. So they're not going to sell these coins to me at $2.95. They're going to say, well, sell it to you at $4, $5, $6. And then now we have to jack it up to, let's say, $6, $7, $8, whatever our cost is. And then you fast forward to even now in the current market. So the U.S. Mint gives allocation of coins to us. We buy everything from the U.S. Mint, but now demand is multiples at what we've seen in previous years. We can't keep inventory in stock. We then have to reach out to the other authorized purchasers, wholesalers, dealers, and even the retail public, and we're paying up for these coins. So in some cases, we're paying north of $9 to our network of dealers. Obviously, if I'm paying $9, I can't sell it for $9. I'd have to make a little bit of profit. So I'm selling them for 13 or so. Right. So that's really why premiums are high. It's basically supply and demand and our cost structure going up.
Yeah, and the U.S. Mint doesn't seem to care. I mean, obviously the demand is out there. They're producing what, 450,000 coins per month, roughly right now. I think that's what one of the other dealers told me recently. Is the number first question? Is that roughly accurate? 450,000.
Yeah, I believe so.
And so, but they have the capacity to produce over 1 million coins per month, but they're choosing not to because they can't get the blanks or something like that. I mean, you're one of the biggest buyers. What's the reason why they won't increase production?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a good question too, and it gets into another point I want to bring is in terms of why premiums are that high and what's likely to happen to them over time. So obviously premiums are a function of high demand and tight supply. So getting on the demand side, as I mentioned, we're seeing demand at a 20+ year high in our history. We record month in March, as I mentioned. You're looking at global gold ETFs saw 15 billion in inflows just this year. So there's demand across all areas of the industry. And then now you move to the supply side. So in terms of the supply, first metal is mined at the various mines. It gets turned into doré bars. It's refined into 3 nines, 4 nines fine industrial size bars. And then this is where the supply chain runs into an issue. So these bars are then put into thin sheets and then they're stamped out into blanks. So this is where the blanking process is where the supply chain runs into issues. And we could get into a little bit about product premiums and how they're different on the industrial products versus the retail products. But the blanks are then shipped to the mint. The mints make their coins. The coins are then shipped to retailers such as APMEX as an authorized purchaser. And then the retailers obviously sell to the public. Over time, I think premiums will go down, but probably not to the levels we've seen in, let's say, 2017, 2018, and 2019. Back then, you almost had an overcapacity in supply in the industry. And it was basically a race to the bottom on who could be the cheapest. I think the industry is more normalized and right sized right now. So I think premiums will go down, but probably not to dirt cheap levels.
Of the sovereign mint coins, which ones are the lowest premiums right now? The most reasonable premiums, I guess is the right word.
Yeah, I think getting onto like which products investors should buy first, I think it's important to speculate on the metal price and not the premiums. So for example, like we talked about silver eagles, let's say you bought a silver eagle today, it's $32 all in, that's your spot plus your premium. So about $19 for spot, $13 for the premium. Let's say silver went up. So silver's now $25, it went up $5. Right. But for whatever reason, the supply chain got fixed and your premiums fell to $5. You'd actually lose money, which sounds kind of odd, but it's like, well, you don't want to speculate on premiums. You want to speculate on silver, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So my recommendation, first of all, is to look at the bid-ask spread of a product. This is what you could buy a product for versus what you could sell it for. And then I would look at some of the most affected products too are the smaller 1 ounce products. So you look at silver eagles are currently selling for $13 over spot right now. Silver maples a little better, about $8 over spot. You could go cheaper from there. Silver rounds is $5 over spot on average. Even 100-ounce bars going up a little bit larger to the size, they're about $3 over spot. But what's really interesting there is when I mentioned that whole supply chain and the bottleneck being the blanking process. Let's say you go to a 1,000-ounce bar now. I'm not recommending this, but this just 1,000-ounce bars on the wholesale market are currently trading for about 30 cents over spot. Oh. So no issue there. The problem with that 1,000-ounce bars is they're not really practical for retail investors to store or even to liquidate. I don't know if you guys have ever seen one or held.
They're great for working out.
They're probably 60, 70 pounds, depending on the weight. They're clunky. They're ugly. Most people have no way to authenticate it.
Great door
stocks. Exactly. Your door is not moving anywhere with that thing. But
I saw there was one guy on Reddit who painted one black and literally was using it as a doorstop.
That's right.
Funny. Well, tell me where he lives, and I'll go pick up his doorstop and replace it with something else. But anyway, the problem about the 1,000-ounce silver bars is they're not practical for retail investors. If you take it to your local coin dealer or coin shop and you said, hey, I want to sell this, they have no way to authenticate it. So they have no interest in it, which gets me into my next point of like what I'm personally doing with these high premiums. And as I mentioned, I have no interest in paying $13 over spot for a Silver Eagle.
What is APMEX doing about the high premiums? Like, is there a solution you guys are working on?
Right now, surprisingly, that there's enough demand that people are still buying. I mean, as I mentioned, we're still having record sales, and we're just making our small margin on it. Obviously, our costs are going up, and premiums to retail customers are going up, but that's just the market we operate in. We look at our costs, mark it up a little bit, and make a small cut.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys have this thing called OneGold that sort of addresses this though, and that's what is OneGold within that's a division of APMEX.
Yeah, so actually, great point. So going back to 2018, APMEX partnered with Sprott to come up with OneGold, which is a new and modern way to own precious metals. Many people call it like the Robin Hood of precious metals, since it's so easy and intuitive to use. But what OneGold is, it's a platform that allows users to buy, sell, and trade vaulted positions of precious metals stored at various vaults around the world. So we have the US, we have Canada, we have Switzerland, and the UK.
Is OneGold an app, or is it just a website? How do people check out OneGold?
Yeah, so you can check out OneGold at onegold.com, or you could also download the app. We have an app on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store as well.
Okay.
What OneGold does is, like I mentioned, it allows users to buy, sell, and trade vaulted positions of gold. OneGold starts by having agreements with various vaulting companies. So we have agreements with Brinks, Loomis, Royal Canadian Mint, CNT, and so on. We then source metal. So we buy the 400-ounce gold bars, the 1,000-ounce silver bars. So before this bottleneck in the supply chain, before products are marked up to crazy premiums, we then store this metal in the various vaults. The metal is then listed for sale. So OneGold will only sell metal that it actually has. So during periods of high demand, let's say during the Silversqueeze time, there was actually a time we had to pause metal sales because we said we can't sell an unbacked promise. We have to make sure that the metal is there ounce for ounce. So if the customer buys it, it's there. So we'll pause metal sales if there's no inventory. When metals purchase is 100% owned by the customer, you could look at our financials. It doesn't appear on OneGold's balance sheet. Premiums are super attractive. As I mentioned, these are 400-ounce gold bars, 1,000-ounce silver bars. So we could sell the gold at essentially 80 basis points over spot, the silver at 2% over spot, and the platinum at 3.7% over spot. Much lower than the 70% premiums that we mentioned earlier on Silver Eagles. Metals obviously insured and audited. And I think one of the neat things about it, and what I'm personally doing, what a lot of our customers are doing as well, is they want to speculate on the silver price, not on the premiums. So they're taking a position in OneGold right now, getting an exposure to silver. And then when premiums return back to the normal levels, they'll redeem their positions. Basically, OneGold has a redemption option where you could swap out your position at OneGold and take physical. You'll just pay whatever the then current retail premium is. So they're saying maybe Silver Eagles get down to $5 again. I'm not paying $13 today. I'm going to take a position in OneGold. Maybe a year later, I could swap it out, pay $5, and at least I got the exposure to silver right now. And it's what I did, and a lot of internal employees did too when silver dropped down to $12 in 2020. Is we saw the retail premiums go insane, and we're like, let's take a position, let's get in at $12, and we'll worry about this premium issue later.
I mean, do you guys have any analysts there at I mean, you're a huge company dealing with billions of dollars of bullion sales, so you got to put a lot of work into hedging yourself and making sure your company. I assume you have analysts that are sort of looking at this. Are you guys looking at more downside in precious metals? I mean, or are you allowed to talk about stuff like that with me?
Well, first of all, we can't make investment recommendations, but what I can tell you, unfortunately, that's
well, tell me, is it going to 14? That's what I need to know, Patrick.
The way I look at it too, at least for what I look at personally, for any investor looking, obviously do your own due diligence. I can't. There's not a one size fit all solution for everyone. I personally look at two things. I mean, right now it's like, one, you weigh the downside versus the upside. You look at it back in 2020, silver went down to $12, as we mentioned. From there, it had a sharp rebound. So my opinion, it's probably too cheap at that price. Could it get down there again? Sure, anything's possible, right? You also look, it's been at $50 twice in history, once in 1980, once in 2011. Let's say silver goes down to $12. You maybe have $7 on the downside, but what do you have on the upside? It's 19, you have 30 plus on the upside. So it's like you weigh your risk and your reward. Maybe it goes down, but upside's a lot higher than the downside. And then the second thing I would say is buy in tranches. And I used to trade futures before, and what's worked well for me too is you look into buying and scaling into your position. So let's say, for example, you want to allocate 30 grand into silver. You could divide this into 3 tranches. Let's say you want to get in now. You get in at $18 or 18 and change, whatever it is. You get 10,000 in right now. At least you have a position. That way, if it shoots up to the moon, hits $50, $100, at least you're in. You didn't say, well, I completely missed the boat, right? If it drops to $16, not saying it will, but if it does, maybe scale in the next 10,000.
Right.
Then you're two tranches in. And maybe if it drops down to 14, you scale in your last 10,000. And then you're averaging down. But, I think a lot of times what people do is they're like, oh, well, it's going to go down. And, I've seen people do it when silver hit 12. They're like, oh, it's going to go to 10. Well, guess what? It never hit 10. Right. So they got it. They didn't even get in at 12. And I actually bought a tranche at 13. I bought a tranche at 12. My next tranche would have been 11 if it hit that back in 2020, but currently didn't hit it. So, but at least I was in 2 tranches. It's not a bad position to be in. You've been in this market for a long time, a lot of experience, right? It sounds like you've been a silver bug are you a silver bug or a gold bug? That's the first question I need to ask.
Better be silver.
I like both. I think they both. Oh, what a cop out! What a cop out answer! My gosh.
That's good.
Hey, let me ask you. So this other thing you guys got called Bullion Card. What is that?
Yeah, so I'm excited to announce a credit card industry and precious metals industry first. It's the Bullion Card. It's the first credit card that allows you to earn precious metals with everyday spend. I actually have a card right here. If you guys want to see it.
That looks so cool.
So instead of earning cash back or airline miles, this card allows consumers to earn gold and silver. So you get 4% back in gold and silver when you spend on APMEX and OneGold, which basically offsets our credit card fee. You get 1% back in gold and silver when you spend on everything else. So this is gas, grocery, shopping.
Wow.
Are you partnered with a bank on this or something?
We are. It's UMB Bank in Kansas City, and the thought is there is a debit card out there, but to me it's like, why do you want to spend your silver? I want to earn I want to buy more silver. Right. I don't want to liquidate it. So a credit card to us made more sense than a debit card.
This is cool. Hold on, this is cool. So what are the rewards? I mean, this is new to me because my favorite credit card is like all these cash back cards. Every card I have is like a 1% or a 2% cash back card. What's the 4%? Give me this one.
4% back in gold and silver if you spend on APMEX or OneGold.
On the website.
Okay. On the website or the app. Okay. 1% back on everything else. So this is gas, groceries, online purchases, and so on. We do have a couple promotions. So you get 15,000 bonus points, which is $150 value after spending $1,500 in the first 90 days. So technically you could spend $1,500 and your first, ounce of gold or whatever, lot of silver is below spot.
I gotta get this card. This is cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Now the rewards that you build up, the 1% or the 4%, it has to be spent at APMEX, right?
So I'll get into that in a second. I'll highlight a couple more things, and I'm super excited about it. I'm actually applying for a card too. No annual fee, so that's great.
Now subprime borrowers with lousy credit scores like me will qualify, correct?
That's up to the bank. Unfortunately, I can't say.
All right,
but it is based on credit worthiness. It is meant to be an accessible card, so it's not meant to be like an exclusive. Like you have, it's not like an Amex Black card where you have to be the part of the elite.
Thank God for that. All right.
But as I mentioned, no annual fee. You get 0% APR for 12 months. So it's a nice thing if you want to charge up, get some gold, get some silver, pay for it later. If you do have some high interest rate debt, we offer 0% balance transfer APR for 12 months. It's interesting too. So like we publicly announced the card. We have a teaser page on both APMEX and OneGold. We launched it about a month ago, and we received over 10,000 interested customers so far.
Oh yeah, no, that's going to be a huge hit with my. You're going to get 1,000 minimum from Wall Street Silver.
Oh yeah, easy.
We hope so.
Yeah, so because I'm going to do it. I love rewards cards, and this is like I've never heard of a rewards credit card that gives me gold or silver.
It's the first. It's the first, so we're super excited about it.
What a great freaking idea! I can't believe someone hasn't done this before.
Yeah, that's right.
It's been a couple years, and it's hard because it's like you have to look at it. Obviously, you need the customer base. I mean, APMEX has probably about 2 million customers right now, but you need the customer base first of all. And you need a bank that's willing to play ball with you. And unfortunately, precious metals is one of those industries where people just like, nope, don't want to touch it. Like,
so you probably approached the big banks, like the big credit card issuers, like Chase or some of those others, and they were like, no way. Or JP Morgan, Chase, yeah, they
JP Morgan,
right? Wouldn't that be an interesting card?
So that would be interesting if they were the issuer. But no, so you found this other bank in Kansas City or something?
That's correct.
What's the name of the bank that's behind
the UMB Bank?
Okay, I've heard of that one. They are a significant credit card issuer, so
yeah,
not one of those top
several.
5. They're like in that top 15 of credit card issuers or something like that.
Yep. But in terms of, I know you had a question earlier about the redemption option. So there's actually 2 variations of the card. So you could apply on APMEX if you like physical metal, and what this will do is you'll earn points that get put into your APMEX account. So it's like earning airline miles. You get points, and then at any time you can redeem your points for any of the 25,000 plus gold, silver, platinum, or palladium products at APMEX. That's one option is APMEX. The option that I think is actually interesting is OneGold. So you apply for the card on OneGold, and since OneGold sells to you fractional ounces, so ounces in 0.001 increments, what we could do is you could select the asset of your choice, whether you want gold, silver, or platinum. And then every single month, whatever points you earn will be automatically invested into gold, silver, and platinum. So it's basically a set it and forget it plan. And you could choose it if you want US, Canada, Switzerland, or the UK. You could use silver, gold, platinum. The reason we're able to do that is you look on the APMEX side, and APMEX cannot sell you a 0.001 ounce of silver. It's just there is no product like that, right? We can sell you 1 gram, but it's not ideal, and you probably don't want to pay for the premiums of 1 gram products anyway. But since with OneGold, as I mentioned, it's like 1,000 ounce silver bar, I could give you fractional ownership in this bar. Let's say you got like 1 ounce or a half ounce or whatever. I could give you ownership in this, and then eventually, when you get enough points, you could say, "Hey, I want to redeem this and get Silver Eagles or Buffalo rounds or whatever." So, super neat process. As I mentioned, I'm personally applying for the card. It's scheduled to be launched internally for employees tomorrow, so I'm going to be applying that. We'll test out, make sure everything works well. And then from there, we're going to launch it to the retail public, hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
The silver's audited at these different warehouses, correct? With OneGold and with
is it like a fully allocated silver gold product?
Yeah. It's allocated, segregated, and we actually had.
That's the key thing. Our community doesn't really want to deal with unallocated.
This is not a Ponzi scheme. We actually have
like the Perth Mint thing or anything. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it is allocated. Craig Hemke of TF Metals actually came to our facility too and looked at someone like we do have some metal stored at APMEX. It's one of the locations we have for the U.S. product. So it's actually segregated away from the APMEX vault. So it's not APMEX inventory. It's in a separate vault, but he's looked at it. It is audited by a top 5 accounting firm. It is insured by Lloyd's of London.
Nice.
So basically audited, insured, allocated, segregated, all in the up and up. Obviously, as I mentioned, founded by APMEX and Sprott. I think if there's several companies out there right now that are trying to do some type of vaulted solution, one of the things I always say is you look at who's backing it. Is this some, Joe Schmo in his garage with, 2 other people? Or is this a company like APMEX that's been in business for 20 some years and has done billions in sales?
Yeah, you guys are the biggest dealer in the country with probably the deepest pockets. So yeah, it's probably you're the right company to probably launch something like this for credibility purposes.
Yeah, but I would say if you're interested in it, we do have 2 teaser pages. So if you like the APMEX rewards, it's thebullioncard.apmex.com. That's the rewards where you basically get like points into your APMEX account where you can redeem it. And if you want that automatic redemption option, it's thebullioncard.onegold.com.
And all of those links I will put in the description if anyone wants to just click on them. So, hey, Patrick, thank you so much. Thanks for coming on and talking about the market with us. It's really valuable, I think, for us to talk with bullion company executives like yourself to sort of get this feel on what's going on in the market.
Right.
We just really appreciate it. And we'd love to do it again in like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, let's do it.
Market develops.
Great. Sounds good. Well, thanks for having me on, guys.